welcome into the Nashville Native. I'm your host, Justin Hawkins, and I am the Nashville Native. This is the first ever edition of the Nashville Native, so those of you who are following along, thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for all my content. Here at the Nashville Native, our goal is to cover all things Nashville sports. Plus, we want to throw in a topic of discussion that's out of market. So if you've got a topic that you want to throw in, please drop a comment or send an email to the Nashville Native, and we will be sure to try to get that topic on the next show. Stay tuned for this show. We've got a big one coming for you. We're talking all things Tennessee Titans, from the offense to the defense. Jeff Swaim and Todd Downing making a name for themselves? What to like and not to like about the game. But remember, let's not overreact. It is just week one after all. There's a lot to unfold, so let's get started. The Tennessee Titans lose 21-20 to the New York Giants. It was a tale of two halves for the Titans. 13-0 going into halftime, and then falling 21-7 in the second half, which ultimately led to the loss. Some key stats to note. Derrick Henry had 21 carries for 82 yards. He made a few good runs, but some were called back due to penalties. Aaron Brewer being the main culprit there. I thought Derrick Henry looked okay. I mean, coming off his injury last year, missing the amount of games that he did, coming into the playoffs, I thought he looked okay. He didn't look like the same Derrick Henry that we're used to, but he looked okay. There was some good notes there. 21 carries for 82 yards. That's about 3.9 yards a carry. That's not too bad in the grand scheme of things. So I thought coming off, he was average, but of course the Titans are going to need a little bit more than average, and then it was a loss. So we need to kind of move on from there. Derrick Henry needs to get up to speed a little bit, and we need to move on from there. Jeff Swaim, here's a stat you don't want to see. 44 offensive snaps out of 60. That was the most of any offensive skill player that played yesterday. So is he what? Is he the number one weapon on the offense? Well, no. He only got 3 catches, 4 targets, 19 yards. And, of course, he had a bad drop in the first half. Here's something interesting. Mike Vrabel said today in his press conference on why Jeff Swaim had so many snaps. He's the best blocking tight end that we have. Sure, he's a great blocker, but in the grand scheme of things, when you're a pass catcher, you didn't do much for the team yesterday. So what's the deal with that? Why are you even playing that much just for blocking? We're not running the ball that much. So when you're not running the ball, maybe you shouldn't put him in so much unless you're running 2 tight end sets. Either way, it's not a good look for him. Where's the receivers that you invested so much in on the offseason? You drafted Treylon Burks in the first round. You drafted Kyle Phillips in the 5th round. Then you went and traded for Robert Woods. Okay? That's it. That was a pretty good signing there. You also signed tight end Austin Hooper in the offseason. In grand scheme of things, based on the tight ends that you had last year, and Jeff Swaim being your number 1 tight end, that's an obvious upgrade. But then you also drafted Chig Okonkwo. So you've kind of upgraded there, but you didn't use them. Why are you not using them? Is that Todd Downing? Or Mike Vrabel? What's the personnel decisions that are being made here? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Robert Woods, supposedly your number 1 receiver. 1 catch for 13 yards. He had 41 snaps, but how are you only targeting him 2 times? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Austin Hooper, 1 catch, 6 yards. It's not a great trend here. He also had 2 targets. If you're playing 37 snaps like he did yesterday, where are you? Why aren't you not making a name for yourself? Sure, you're blocking sometime, and that's some of your snaps. But when you're a receiver, are you not getting open? Now, Mike Vrabel did say in his press conference today as well that the receivers were not getting too open. So he's playing receivers that are getting open. I get that. But also, put your playmakers in the game. Here's another thing. Treylon Burks had 3 catches for 55 yards. For your first game as a rookie, that's a pretty good solid showing. But he only played 14 snaps. 3 catches, 55 yards. Good for 5 targets as well. Again, why are you not playing your playmakers? Good rookie start for him. Hopefully can build on that as well. But you got to play him. He's a bright spot in the offense. Just get him the ball more. He had 33 yards after the catch, good for an average of 11. That was tops in the NFL on Sunday. What are you doing? Kyle Phillips, rookie, UCLA. This guy is special. We may have found something here as a good slot receiver. He had 6 catches for 66 yards on 9 targets. It's obvious that Ryan Tannehill likes having him in the offense. And that's good because we like it too. He also is good in the punt return game. Now, he did have a muff punt, so that was obviously a sore spot in there. But it was a good read by Amani Hooker to offset that and get a pick in the end zone. That was really nice too. So I guess the grand scheme of things on offense, get your skill players more. Get your playmakers more involved. We're seeing too much of Cody Hollister and Jeff Swaim in critical situations. Now, Cody Hollister only played 8 snaps, but critical situations, why are you doing that? It's too much for my liking. Like I said, Swaim blocks well. He's the best blocker that's on the team. But, come on. He's obviously not a playmaker. Who would you rather live by if you're the Titans? Would you rather live by Woods, Burks, Nick Westbrook-Akine, Hooper? Or you were living by the backups? I think the Titans made that decision a little too clear yesterday. They're living by the backups. That's not a great sight. It's really not a great sight, especially coming up next week when we have the Bills on Monday Night Football. They just trounced the Rams Thursday Night Football. Monday Night Football is going to be a rude awakening going into Buffalo in that hostile environment. So moving on, we're going to go to the offensive line now. Honestly, in my opinion, I thought the offensive line looked okay. Pass protection was pretty good. Tannehill seemed like he had some time to throw. But what was the problem? Run protection. It was great last year. And the pass protection was not very good. It's like it flip-flopped somehow. Now, of course, yes, you do have Nicholas Petit-Frere as your rookie right tackle. And then you have Aaron Brewer taking over the spot for Roger Saffold. But the run blocking is supposed to be one of the strong points. It was not yesterday. The pass blocking was pretty good, like I said. We're going to have to make some improvements there. And also, Aaron Brewer getting several holding calls. You can't have that. Like I said earlier, took away some good Derrick Henry runs that would have gone for first downs. Even though Tannehill had decent time to throw, I mean, he did have some issues, some throws he'd like to have back. But honestly, if you look back to his last game they played against the Bengals, I thought he actually played a pretty good game. He was one of the best players on the team yesterday. So he was not the problem. Sure, like I said, there's throws he might want back, and yes, but overall, they did a pretty good job. And hey, no picks. Seeing 3 picks the last time we saw him on the Titans field, and now throwing 0 and 2 touchdowns, I like that. Speaking of 2 touchdowns, Dontrell Hilliard, good backup. I thought he was a really good third down back yesterday. But one thing that I saw really interesting is on the final drive of the game, why was he not in the game? Vrabel seemed like he was making excuses saying why he wasn't in the game, but Hilliard actually came out and said it wasn't his call. He was fine. He was ready to go back in. But it was Vrabel's call, or the coordinator's fault. Why? 2 touchdowns, and he's one of the best players on the team yesterday. I really don't understand. Again, get your playmakers the ball, man. I've already spoke on Derrick Henry. Not going to speak on him again. I thought it was okay. Not as much juice as what we're used to. Maybe needed to play more in the preseason or just get some more reps in training camp. But I think it's Derrick Henry. He's the king after all. Best running back in the game. Let's go. Come on. Week 1 jitters maybe. I don't know. But here's the thing. What is the deal with Todd Downing? He had questionable play calls all game. Questionable personnel decisions, like I mentioned earlier. Jeff Swaim, Cody Hollister in critical situations. Why are you not playing your playmakers? That's my number 1 takeaway today. Playmakers, get them the ball. Now, if they're not getting open, that's one thing, but live by them or die by them. You're dying by the backups. At least that's what they did in the first game. Not going to overact. That's the key. It's just week 1. Not going to overact. I'm not going to say fire him like many people have said between yesterday and today. But, not like I said, not going to fire him, but come on, dude. Got to make better calls. You got a coach behind you that is passing game coordinator. That was a offensive coordinator for Houston last year. He's behind you. He's ready to go. I mean, if I'm Vrabel, I've got a thin leash on him. But we'll see. I don't know. Clearly, Sunday showing was not good enough. A lot to work on. A lot of calls to go through. Maybe have a better playbook. I don't know. It was not good. It was not good. Bad calls, bad personnel decisions. There's two things in particular that I'm looking at that I just cannot let go. The 3rd and 1 call in the 4th quarter, you have Derrick Henry in the game, but he does not get the ball. If Derrick Henry can't get you 1 yard in the game, then what are you doing? Something's the problem. But instead, you run a sweep to the tight end, a rookie tight end in Chigakonkwo. Now, there was also a problem. Taylor Warren got blown up, so it blew the play immediately. But when you've got the best running back in the game, I don't care if he's not what he was last year or the year before, he should be able to get you 1 yard. Now also, you've got Ryan Tannehill, who's 6'4". Run a QB sneak. Throw the defense off a little bit. Again, what are you doing? Gotta get better. Gotta get better. The other one, you have a chance to go up 17-0 with 7 minutes left in the 2nd quarter, going into halftime. Instead, we settle for a field goal. That field goal, that's a tradition that the Titans apparently have that I don't want to take part in any longer. And hopefully Vrabel, John Robinson, hopefully they don't want to either. But here we are. In the game, this is really the key here. There's 5 skill players in the game. Derrick Henry, Torrey Carter, Austin Hooper, Jeff Swaim, and Cody Hollister. According to really the skill players, Derrick Henry is your best player, obviously, that's in the game. And then you have Austin Hooper, good red zone target. I don't understand. You're in the red zone, trying to go up 17-0. And what do? Again, Derrick Henry didn't get the ball. Austin Hooper didn't get the ball. Instead, Tannehill rolls to the right and throws a delayed throw to Henry in which he does not catch it. I'm not fully putting the blame on Henry, but he could have caught that. But it wasn't going to be a first down anyways. It was a check down, and it was just going to be out of bounds regardless. Short. Why are you putting those players in the game? Where's Traylon Burks? Where's Robert Woods? Where's Westbrook Akine? Why are they not in the game in a critical situation to get a touchdown? But yeah, you settle for a field goal. I just don't understand. It's hard to fathom the play calls and the personnel decisions. But here's something that we should talk about. The defense. Some good things, some bad things. Major bright spot. 5 sacks in the first game. Amazing. Big Jeffrey Simmons 2 sacks. One of them a strip sack on Daniel Jones. Hey, I just want to say thank the Lord for Rashad Weaver. Coming in huge, doing his best impression to take over for Harold Landry, who is out for the ACL for the rest of the season. 2 sacks. He got hurt last year, went on IR, missed the season. Hey, not saying he's the second coming of anything like that, but that was a major bright spot and something to build upon. Now, why the pass rush was great, the run defense was terrible. I mean, what are you doing? Last year we were so good, about 89 yards a game you're giving up in the run. Yesterday, Saquon ran all over the Titans. 18 carries, 164 yards, and a touchdown, including a 68-yarder in the 3rd quarter and a 33-yarder to set up the go-ahead touchdown. And he also got the 2-point conversion that took them 21-20. I will say, Barkley is great since coming out of Penn State. It's great. Yes, he had his injuries, but he's still a good running back. But yesterday, the Titans made him much better than what my personal opinion that he is. So what happened to that rush defense from the year prior? Is this the Harold Landry effect? I sure hope not, because, like I said, we got Buffalo next week, and that's going to be tough. Josh Allen likes to run the ball, obviously. We'll see. So, with all this being said, it's week 1. Let's not overreact too much. But a personal opinion of mine, should we just finally let the starters play in the preseason? Let them get some game reps at least. Let them have time to gel with each other. The offensive weapons need time to get together, and they're just not doing it. I don't know what it is, but if it was me, I would play them at least one game in a couple series or a quarter or two. Just give the starters some time, and they don't. I don't know. It may be something to look into next season. Look, I'm not a coach. I haven't played football since Pee Wee, so I'm not one to judge except for what I see on the field. And what I see on the field is rust. Now, that's expected. Like I said, it's week 1. But also, just give the starters some time. Get them up to speed. There's no reason to lose to the lowly New York Giants. This is one of the easiest games on the schedule. You should win the game. You had it in the bag, and what did you do? You packed it up in the second half. And you got yourself into a hole you couldn't get out of. Bad play calls, bad personnel decisions. It was not good enough. If I'm a Titans fan, I am livid. Moving into Buffalo next week, it's going to be tough. They're not going to make it easy. Look what they did to the Rams on Thursday Night Football. First game of the season. Embarrassing. It's going to be interesting, though. Moving on to Buffalo next Monday. They're a team without star cornerback Tre'Davious White. But they didn't skip a beat. If the Titans play like they did Sunday, it's not going to be fun. And they're going to go into 0-2 start. Hadn't done that in a while. But then guess what? What's after that? You come home and you face the Raiders. The Raiders are no slight either. Devontae Adams, look what he did. Him and Derek Carr, Derek Carr had some interceptions, but Devontae Adams torched the Chargers. Can't have that. A lot of things to work on coming into week 2. Hopefully the Titans can get it together, because otherwise it's going to be a long season. Yeah. Hopefully they'll get figured out. Well, that's it for this show. I'm Justin Hawkins. I'm the Nashville Native. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, you can follow along on social media, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. Send an email for a topic of discussion for out-of-town markets. I'd love to have a discussion topic that's not involving Nashville. But until then, we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining.